Well, happy Monday morning, business communication students, actually managerial communication students, BUS22. This is Mr. Doucette. This is week number 10 in our 16-week class here at Norco College, fall 2022. And I wanted to do another quick video for week 10, just explaining some of the assignments as well as we're looking ahead into what you should be working on in these weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Oop. Did it backwards. There we go. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and enter our class here in Canvas and just go over a few things. Of course, we only have one more weeks, actually one more week, and module 2 ends, which means that the case study or the discussion post assignment that you guys have been working on, the do's and don'ts of business writing, that's going to be due and it's going to close next Sunday night. So this week, this Sunday night. I'm going to go ahead and go into this module. So this is your last week to work on that. So as I look here in module number 2, I'm going to scroll down. This was last week. We looked at 2 chapters, chapters 8 and 9. We looked at positive routine messages as well as negative messages. And then, of course, you had your writing assignment, which was a positive or a negative message. I gave you the choice as to which one you wanted to do. If you chose a negative message, you must use a buffer. And of course, the indirect strategy, if you chose a positive routine message, that was just a straightforward message to send, where your main idea was right off the bat in the beginning of your document with all the reasons to why you are requesting whatever it is you're requesting. And so indirect and direct strategy is something that you really need to make sure you understand, especially as we move into the coming weeks. I believe this week we're going to be getting into persuasive messages, and you're going to be doing a persuasive sales message, and that it is going to be using the indirect strategy. So I'll be looking for that, whether or not you did it on your negative message. Hopefully you did. If you chose to do the positive message this week, then you would not have had any experience with doing a indirect strategy, but make sure that you study that, that you follow it. It was part of your check-in assignment. One of the questions was, what's the difference between direct and indirect strategy? And the main difference is how you format that document. And again, in the direct strategy, you state the main idea right off the bat, then you give all the reasons, then you give a courteous close. Where the indirect strategy, you use a buffer, then you give all the reasons, then request. So always the ask is at the end of your reasons, not before your reasons. And when we get into this next week's chapter 10, dealing with persuasive messages, you're going to be using what's called the AIDA method. And it basically is a format to format your document. You start off with the first A, which means getting somebody's attention. So use something to get my attention, a startling statistic, an interesting quote, a question, something to get my attention. Don't just say, I'm writing this letter to you or this email to you. No. Get my attention. Say something startling. Say something interesting that grabs my attention. And then you need to build the person's interest, because again, it's a sales letter. So if it's a sales letter, you're trying to sell something. So put all the benefits and all the good things about that the item you're trying to sell up front. Get my attention. Get my interest. And then create desire. And the way you create desire is you remove all objections or any objections. So you might be, thinking as you're writing the letter, man, I could see that if I was to receive a letter like this, I'd probably say it's going to be too expensive or it's too difficult to do. So you might want to anticipate that and then answer that in your letter, or you may want to make it easy for me by giving me some kind of a discount or some kind of a reward for responding right away. So something, even a testimonial like, hey, people so-and-so uses this product, some celebrity. Those are ways in which you can create desire. I got to have that now. First, it's interest, like, yeah, that sounds cool. Now it's like, okay, I got to have it. And then your last A, again, A, attention, I, interest, D, desire, and then the last A, AIDA, is ask or action. Tell me exactly what you want me to do. Don't just say, I hope you respond, or we hope to hear from you. Well, then anybody can say that. Drive it home. Sign up today. Order today. Here's how. And then put the email address or put a website I can go to right in your document. So that way I don't have any excuses. I could do it right now. by a click of a button. So that's what we mean by using the AIDA method. Again, it's an indirect strategy, so you're not going to give your ask or your action until the end, until after you've built interest and desire, etc. So that's the goal of it, and that's going to be your persuasive sales letter. Again, this last week you did either a positive or a negative message. You also did a quiz and your check-in assignment. And then I did include the business writing Zoom session right here. I'm going to go ahead and move that down, because if you've not watched that yet, and I can tell a few of you may not have watched it. In fact, a few of you on your last writing assignment, I just gave you a 0 and said, go watch the video on business writing and then redo your document and resubmit it, because it was obvious that you didn't watch that. And that really should be a mandatory. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll put it up here at the top and I'll add a condition where you must watch that. So students must watch the business writing Zoom session. They must view that item before they can actually do the assignment. So that's going to be added this week if you've not watched it already. If you have, just view it for a second and then you're good. So either way, so moving into next week, you're going to have again a check-in assignment. Looks like we're going to have a Zoom session on Tuesday night at 4 o'clock. So we'll be going over a persuasive AIDA method a little bit more detailed. So we're going to be having that. I also have a check-in for week 10, PowerPoints for chapter 10, quiz for chapter 10, and then of course you're going to have your writing assignment, which is your persuasive sales letter. Also keep in mind that your discussion post is going to be due. So I'm going to move that down here to this week. It's going to be due this week. So I'm going to make sure that that's added. So you have quite a bit to get done this week. Hopefully your discussion post, you've already been doing it, so you're done. But if not, make sure you get that done as well. You have your writing assignment, and then of course you have your second exam number 2. So again, you do have a heavy week this week, and that's mostly, it won't be heavy if you've already done your discussion post, but if you've not, then obviously it's going to be a lot of work for you to get that done as well. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions or concerns or problems. I'm here to help you. And if I'll be grading all of your writing assignments from last week as soon as possible, because I want to be able to give you the feedback. Make sure once I grade it that you go in and actually view my comments, because I'm making a lot of suggestions that could improve your writing assignments. And my goal is to see you take my suggestions and apply them to your next assignment. So in this case, whatever I write on this week's writing assignment that you just did, that you'll apply to, or last week's, you'll apply to this week's in your persuasive document. So that's pretty much it. Have a great week, everybody. And if you need to